Hello and welcome to the standings, where we review the sports standings, and we're standing this time as our stools get repaired. I'm Daniel, and this is Morgan. How has your week been?
My week's been pretty good, pretty busy, but can't complain. I honestly love keeping busy. So how about you?
Yeah, it's been busy. Great start to the new semester, and I'm not having the best hair day, but we'll get through it. We'll get through the show.
It's fine.
It's all right. Let's jump into our first topic. That being my question to you. Was the new college football playoff format, is this a success to you?
There are definitely pros and cons to this new college football format, but we didn't see any Cinderella stories. We didn't see any upsets, so there's just a lot that we're missing from the college football playoffs, and they have time to alter it a little bit for the 2025 season, and as we know, in the 2026 season, it's just going to get changed too.
And the easy answer to this is yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the viewership jumped, and now you have a proven champion that they have to play 4 rounds to win the championship. Maybe they play 3, maybe they play 4. Whatever it is, you get a proven champion at the end of the year. And the viewership has been more up than it ever has been. The eyes on college football are more than they ever have been. And in my lifetime, at least, this is the best version of college football. And everyone's hoping it stays that way as it goes through. Now, as we run through it, there might be a few problems. The first problem for me definitely has to do with the fact that Oregon gets the 1 seed. They end up playing Ohio State immediately. Mm-hmm. And granted, Ohio State was the lowest seed to move on. That's what a lot of people want to understand. But Ohio State comes in as the second best odds to win the national championship. So obviously, the committee believed in them. And obviously, if there wasn't 4 teams that got a bye week, then you'd end up having to play and then having to play Ohio State as the 1 seed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just insanity to me. Another problem that arises with me is the Mountain West champion getting in. I mean, Boise State, great team. They had a great running back in Ashton Genty, but that just doesn't hold true when you play a team like Penn State, who's clearly better. It's clearly a team that, yes, you won a great conference, but not as great as the Pac-12, the ACC, the SEC, the Big Ten. It's just not the same to me.
And honestly, I've seen a lot of mixed reviews about this, like doing some research on it, and a lot of the casual fans were not very happy with this new format because they had a hard time understanding the seeding for this year. So they kind of changed the seeding a little bit for college football, and a lot of people couldn't follow along as easily as they have in the past. So that was another issue people had going into the playoffs this year.
It's hard to tell a casual fan that Boise State and Arizona State got in instead of Alabama and LSU. I mean, it's hard to tell them who haven't watched the full season. They don't know how this scheduling works. They don't know how the committee does it year to year. So to tell them that, it's super hard. And for me, it's hard to tell that person that Ohio State didn't make their conference championship. For one, they didn't make their conference championship. Then they went to lose to Michigan, which didn't end up mattering. And then they did have a hard path to the championship. But for this team not to win the conference championship, not even be in their conference championship, and then have a chance at the national title, that's hard to tell a lot of people. And that's something that we have to, examine over the years and see, did this help them? Did this hurt them? What really happened there?
Yeah, and considering it was the first year of them trying this, they definitely have a lot of potential to grow on this and learn from what happened this year. And there's a lot that could be worked out, but I think it's a good start for them.
Definitely a great start. Let's move on to our second topic, and that is, where will Jimmy Butler land in this season? So he came out with a statement. I'm just going to read it quick because they suspended Jimmy Butler again. And they say, "We have suspended Jimmy Butler for 2 games for continued pattern of disregard of team rules, insubordinate conduct, and conduct detrimental to the team, including missing today's team flight to Milwaukee." So for you, what does this say about Jimmy Butler? What does this say about where he might go? And how can the Heat get the best value out of this?
There are some big decisions that need to be happening here because Jimmy Butler, 35 years old, averaging 17 points per game. And in 2023, June, he did an interview with ESPN talking about Miami, saying, "It'll be the last jersey that I wear." So he says that he's going to retire Miami, and now he has this sudden switch that he's just like, "I'm done with Miami, I'm sick of it." And what I keep seeing are these 2 big potential trades going around. So a big one is Jimmy Butler to the Warriors. And this is one Shaq really wants, too. If you've been paying attention to him, this is the one he really wants. And that is a 3-team trade between Toronto and Miami and the Warriors. So Toronto would get Wiggins and Santos, and Miami gets Schroeder, Payton II, and Brown Jr. But with that, it's hard to do a 3-team trade, and is Jimmy Butler really worth it there?
And 3-team trades don't happen often. I mean, that's just something that people will make up, and then they'll say, oh, this might work, and it'll benefit each team. That's just spitballing. The ones that I've seen have been Jimmy Butler to the Suns, in which the Heat finally get Bradley Beal. As a Heat fan, this is painful to watch. It's just a bunch of nonsense coming out of that front office. And from Jimmy Butler, who's acting like a diva. Like you said, he's averaging 17 points per game. In the modern NBA, that's the bottom half of the league. That's not very good. And for him to be acting the way he does is just, like I said, it's just nonsense. It's confusing because of what you said. He's going to try and finish his career in a Heat uniform. That's not fair to the team to be acting the way you are right now. He says he loves the guys he's playing with and plays behind. And then you're acting like this to get suspended intentionally. You're suspending yourself intentionally when you miss the flight. That's something easy. That's something that athletes know how to be on time for. They have people that do it for them.
And honestly, with the Suns trade, that would have to be another 3-team trade there too, because they've been trading around with the Jazz a little bit for some first-round picks there. But also, can Miami really afford Beal? Do they want him on the team? No.
Probably not, as he's riding the bench for the Suns so far this season. I mean, is he really a star anymore? He's falling out of his prime. You know, KD and Booker are stars still. We've seen that, but Bradley Beal did not pan out with the Suns like he was supposed to. And the Heat spending, on an old star, whether it be, the other trade that floated around was Middleton and Bobby Portis to the Heat. I mean, do you want 2 old guys from the Bucks and a bunch of picks? I'd rather you keep Middleton and Bobby Portis.
Yeah, me too.
And you just get a bunch of early picks. I mean, just give me anything. I mean, and if Bobby Portis is worth a 3rd rounder, give me the 3rd rounder. I would love that instead of Bobby Portis. That's just my own opinion and how I look at it like this. As far as team building goes, right now they have a great young guy in Kel'el Ware. I mean, he is phenomenal so far, and he has a chance of being Rookie of the Year when he came in at plus 10,000 to begin the year. Focus on developing that guy. If you're going to keep Bam, focus on developing him. If you're not going to keep Bam, or you have questions about keeping Bam, revamp the whole team.
Yeah.
It's terrible to watch this season. Couldn't be a worse state for a Heat fan.
Yeah. You know what? But as a Bucks fan, I understand. I don't want to lose Middleton. I don't want to lose Portis. That's the team I've grown to love right there. But seeing Middleton's not playing, he's always injured, and just Portis, they fit in well with the team. You'd hate to see them leave, but I wouldn't be too surprised if the Bucks end up doing something with them as well.
Yeah. Let's move into some recent news with the hiring of Ben Johnson. My question to you is, do you believe that the hiring moves the Bears over the hump?
It's hard to say. The Bears were 5-12, no ties this year, and they aren't the greatest team. They had the 2nd worst record in the NFC, and just above them was the Giants with the worst record. Ben Johnson did really great this year with the Lions, and the only reason that he stayed with the Lions for the 2024 season because he wanted to bring them to the Super Bowl. He had the opportunity to be a head coach in 2023. He was in speculation with that, but ultimately he decides to stay with the Lions.
My answer is pretty simple. It's yes, it could pan out, and a lot of young offensive minds do pan out under Kyle Shanahan, but this guy's not, so we'll have a different story for him. A lot of these young offensive minds, and this guy especially reminds me of Adam Gase, who had great play calls and was dynamic and was something new that we saw, where we see with the Lions, like receivers throwing touchdowns or maybe receivers throwing interceptions as far as the recklessness goes. If he's going to be a head coach, he needs to trust Caleb with the ball, unlike the Bears did last year. They really just didn't trust him in those big moments, and I think for a rookie quarterback, if you're going to have him start from day one, that's really just a failure as far as everything goes. This guy comes in and he's like, oh, I want to play the Lions twice a year, and I want to beat Matt LaFleur twice a year again.
Yeah. He said that's what he looks forward to.
It's just a little cocky to me. I don't understand it, and it's not something a head coach comes in and says. So I don't really know how to look at them going forward.
He is very confident in his skills going in with the Bears, and he says he's eager to work with Caleb Williams, and he wants to fix the O-line over there too. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done with the Bears, and his confidence could either make or break him here.
And he said he wanted to stay in the division.
Yes.
You want to stay in the division with a team that was 6 games behind third place. They were 6 games behind third place, and the other coaches in the division are Dan Campbell, who may be unproven. Maybe we'll see this season that it was more of Aaron Glenn, and it was more of Ben Johnson. But you got Dan Campbell. He's the guy in Detroit right now. You got Kevin O'Connell, a young offensive mind that seems to have panned out. Matt LaFleur, a young offensive mind that has panned out for the Packers. Granted, the Packers didn't have the best season, but they still made the playoffs. The Bears are the team that didn't make the playoffs in the division. It is going to be so hard for them to all of a sudden switch gear and become first or second place in that division. There's just too many talented teams to want to stay in the division. Maybe you think you know something that other teams don't, but I don't understand it.
That's what he's making it seem like. He says he knows this division very well. He wants to stay in it. He wants to keep going with it, but there's other opportunities that don't let the Bears in playoffs, really.
Well, hopefully we're wrong about the Bears. Hopefully Ben Johnson does pan out because Chicago is a huge market for football. We need to see the Bears playing great football, maybe finally have a 4,000-yard passer. But let's just see. Let's see if they pan out. Hopefully they do, and that'll wrap it up.
Thank you for watching the standings, and tune in next time for our Super Bowl predictions and analysis.
Or check out other Royal Studios content and leave a like if you enjoyed. See you next week.